We've been ranking a lot of cool series lately here on Chaos Gaming. Today's a really good one. We are going to attempt to rank every Batman Arkham game right now. With Rocksteady's Suicide Squad game coming next year, I thought this would be a good time to take a look at the studio's main claim to fame, the Batman Arkham series. Welcome to Chaos Gaming. Make sure you have those notifications on and you are following the page. And Arkham was a 5-game franchise that redefined superhero action games. Many consider them to be the best comic book games ever. We're going to find out right now. We're going to go from the worst to the best. I encourage you in the comments to rank them yourselves if you disagree with mine. At number 5, and the worst, is Arkham VR. Yep. Now, this is a VR game that really should have been awesome, but it unfortunately fell victim to many of the common VR pitfalls. The game takes place in between the events of Arkham City and Arkham Knight, puts you in Batman's first-person VR shoes as he tries to figure out why Robin and Nightwing have gone missing. Now, unlike the other Arkham games, Arkham VR is all about problem solving and has no combat to speak of. Like I said, it fell into a lot of the common VR pitfalls. Mainly the fact it feels like a tech demo rather than a full game. It's very shallow, it's very short, which you may not mind for a VR title, but compared to the rest of the games on this series, it just doesn't live up. If you're a fan of puzzle solving of the Arkham series, maybe you'll get a kick out of VR, but overall, it was a pretty big letdown for a lot of fans. It looked really good, but that was about it. At number 4 today, Arkham Knight, the final game in the main series. Now, this was seen by many as a pretty big letdown, while others saw it as a worthy conclusion to the main trilogy. You tell me. In this game, Scarecrow and his colleagues have taken over Gotham, and Batman has to work from the inside out to try and figure out how to take the city back. So in terms of scale, it's the biggest game in the series. You have access to the Batmobile, you can get around quicker, although I still like gliding around the rooftops personally. Arkham Knight was heavily criticized for its terrible PC release, although it's now been patched up. That's usually how it works, and in terms of game design, it's definitely not doing much more than the previous games, but that's not always a bad thing. If it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. Arkham Knight's a very big game, and it will take a lot of time to get through. It's just a bit of a coin toss as to whether you'll actually think it's as good as the rest. If you like the Arkham games, you'll probably like it. If you're new to the series, you may not. At number 3 today, Arkham Origins, the one and only game in the series not developed by Rocksteady. Origins was meant to be a prequel to the trilogy and was instead developed by WB Games Montreal. Released 8 years ago, it borrowed from its most of its skeleton from Arkham City while telling its own story, making the open world a little bigger. You played as a much younger Batman, taking on a series of lesser-known villains from the comics, which, that made the tone of the game a lot more grounded and believable, if you ask me. A lot of people actually liked that. In terms of gameplay, Arkham Origins is practically identical to Arkham City, and the sandbox is much, much bigger as the game takes place in portions of Gotham City itself. In fact, certain pieces of the Arkham City map were copy-pasted over so you could see what they were like in the past, although some actually wrote this off as just being an easy way for the devs to save time while they were creating the sandbox. I'll let you guys judge. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it's a solid game. Now let's get into some games that will probably blow your socks off. At number 2, Arkham Asylum. This is where it all started. Many consider this to be the best story in the entire series. It has Batman delivering the Joker to the prison when all of a sudden he gets caught up in a major plot to take over Gotham led by the Joker, the Riddler, Poison Ivy. In terms of scale, it's the smallest in the series. That's not a bad thing. It means the story is much more focused and the writing is tighter. It's a fantastic game and it redefined action games as we know them. If you ever wonder why so many action games now use counter combat, it's because of Arkham Asylum. If you ever wonder why Action Sandbox has made excessive use of trophies and collectibles, it's because of Arkham Asylum. Aside from the main story, the game has a ton of extra content you can do. But at number 1, I hope you agree, Arkham City. If you ask me, it's the best superhero game of all time. Yep, above Spider-Man. I said it. Set a few years after the events of Asylum. It involves a mad scientist walling off a huge section of Gotham in order to hold all the villains and their goons, essentially sentencing them to death. However, Bruce Wayne opposes this idea, which gets him thrown in there as well, at which point Batman must suit up and figure out what the heck is going on within the walls of Arkham City, as well as face off with many of his old rivals who are locked there as well. This was a great improvement over the first game, a much bigger world, way more gadgets, far deeper combat, and the addition of side missions to help you unlock skills and devices was good. It's also the first game to give us multiple playable characters, as Catwoman plays a major role in the campaign, and then you also get to play as Robin and Nightwing on challenges matches. It was good, it was fan service, it was great. The story is top notch. The fans loved it. If you ask me, Arkham City is not only the best game in the series, but also the best superhero game of all time, and hopefully, Rocksteady can get this energy back with their new Suicide Squad game. There we go. You rank them for me if you didn't agree, and I'll see you soon.